Hold on, I think I wanted to put my hair up, and then I forgot. So, I guess we're gonna live like this. Hi, hello, today we are going to be reading more Reddit stories. Today's theme is trans people, or transgender stuff. And for the record, I am trans, if it's not blatantly obvious. Am I the asshole for asking a trans man to walk me home? I, 20 female, was invited to visit my sister, 24, and friends met at university. I know a couple of them, and one trans man in particular more than others. I did not know some of them. On the second day, we had all gone out for some drinks to celebrate finishing uni. We had eaten out during the day, and I suspected I had been accidentally given some gluten/gluten cross contamination happened, and so I wasn't feeling well, and was feeling worse as the time went on. I have an intolerance, so I was not in danger, just feeling nauseous with stomach pains and cramps. One of her friends, I'll call him Alex, 25-ish, seems to like me and had been trying to flirt despite me telling him I wasn't interested. I said I was going to walk back to their apartment where I was staying as I wasn't feeling well. I knew roughly where we were and where I needed to go, and was happy to go alone, maybe 10 minutes walk. I also had my phone with Google Maps if I needed it. Alex immediately wanted to walk me home, and I tried to gently say I was fine and that he could stay and have fun. Her trans friend, Liam, 23, then offered and said he was tired anyways. I felt more comfortable with Liam as I knew him far better and he wasn't continually flirting and making me uncomfortable. I accepted Liam's offer and we left. Alex was visibly annoyed and tried to make me change my mind or let him come too. We insisted we were fine, and then a couple others came over to find him, so he left. Liam did return to the party a while later. Well, apparently I caused issues, but being more comfortable with Liam is transphobic, as I don't perceive him as a real man and therefore also a danger, and I put him in danger. There's been a lot of back and forth over similar points. There's a rift in my sister's friend group and half are angry at me. Sis isn't sure who to sign with and isn't sure what happened exactly, as she wasn't there at the time of the conversation. So am I the asshole? Was I homophobic? Not the asshole at all. Like, it had, the reason that she felt uncomfortable with this person had nothing to do with their gender. Well, gender is a part of attraction, so in a sense it does, but it had to do with the fact that this guy was constantly trying to flirt with her, and this other guy was not trying to flirt with her. And like, well, yes, there's danger with all men. Trans men are socialized different than cis men. Cis men are taught growing up that you're not supposed to cry, that you have to be a man, and all those like societal pressures, whereas women are taught more so to be like empathetic, to be nurturing, all those types of things. Not that trans men cannot be bad, not that they aren't dangerous. Like, the reason I don't trust men very much is because the way they were socialized and the things that are drilled into their head that are completely wrong to drill into their head, you know? And there's like this level of privilege that cis men have that trans men do not have. So there is some differences. I feel like this person, they said that they knew I forget their name. The person says they knew Liam better than they knew Alex. Alex was the guy who was flirting with her. Liam was not. But I guess she knew Liam better, so, like, it's just going with the person. Like, even if these were cis men, like, yeah, there'd be an extra layer of, like, discomfort, but I don't even think so. I think this person would have chosen the same thing if they were both cis men, because one of them was constantly flirting with her, and the other was not making, like, a pass at her, and she knew him better. So I don't think there's transphobia involved in this, but maybe I'm just an idiot and don't particularly see it. Am I the asshole for not letting my trans daughter come out to our extended family until after our vacation? My daughter, female 17, is transgender, but she is currently only out to her immediate family. My husband and I call her by her preferred name and use the right pronouns for her, but nobody else in the family knows she's trans. They refer to her by her dead name with he, him pronouns. So far, this has only been in periods of around an hour or two, so in her words, it's been slightly bearable. But the thing is, we're going on a week-long vacation with some of our relatives soon, and we're sharing a house. Because of this, our daughter will be referred to as her dead name and will be presenting as male. She has expressed her discontent with this, to the point that she's considering not going on the vacation and staying home, but her father and I both agree that she should wait until afterwards to come out. It's not that anybody in the family is transphobic. If anything, they're probably the opposite. I'm not worried about her being in any danger or facing any transphobic comments, but I worry that it won't be enough time for them to fully understand that our daughter is trans and that the topic would take up the entire vacation, which nobody wants. We all just want to be able to have a nice vacation and not deal with this gender oh. Am I in the wrong for not letting her come out, or is my daughter being selfish? The not worry about this gender stuff, like, come on. Just that line alone makes you a fucking asshole. Just the fact that, like, it's making it seem like her daughter's coming out is an inconvenience or something that shouldn't, like... As it began, I was like, you know what, maybe it's a safety thing. Maybe, like, she shouldn't come out because, like, they don't know how people will take it. But no, in the last paragraph, it took a fucking 180, and instantly they're like, well, we're not worried about her being accepted because she probably would be. And we're not worried about, you know, her safety because she probably would be fine. We're worried about, like, spoiling the vacation or, like, taking up all the time of the vacation with this gender stuff. It felt like driving on a bus where you kind of knew where you were going, and then they take a sharp turn into a different direction, and now you have and it's just no clue what's going on. I don't think a lot needs to be said for that one. Let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole? I asked my trans daughter to choose an Indian name. My husband and I come from a traditional Indian family, immigrated to the US for college and stayed here. So bear in mind that we really don't know much about the nuances of the LGBTQ plus community, since we were never really exposed to that. I decided to bring my situation here so I can get some third-party advice. My son, now daughter, 15 female, recently came out as a transgender girl. We immediately accepted her, told her we loved her no matter what. I got her talking to a gender specialist/therapist. We entered family therapy, and my husband and I have spent a lot of time reading and educating ourselves on what it means to be trans. Unfortunately, my husband and I also lost a lot of friends and family who decided that my daughter was a freak and that we were abandoning our culture and values. While we realized that we are better off without these ignorant people, it has been tough despite having my siblings, some close friends, and my husband stand by me. So several months ago, I joined a support group for parents of kids who are trans. It has been really helpful, and I feel like it's a great place for me to voice my concerns and also express my feelings. A week ago, my daughter brought up how she probably wanted to change her name. Right now, we are calling her a gender-neutral nickname of her dead name. I think Vikrant to Vicky. Now, I completely understand that having remnants of your dead name can be bad, so we told her that we would support her in her name-changing process. I also mentioned that I had a list of girls' names that I never got to use. I have 3 biological boys, and I would love if she wanted to use one of those names, but my husband and I still got to name her. We even offered to do a redo of her traditional Hindu naming ceremony with her new name, which she loved. She said that she would think about the name. She mentioned having a white name like Samantha and asked what I thought. I told her that it was her choice, but I would love if she chose an Indian name so she always has a piece of her heritage with her and that it would make us happy. She said she hadn't thought of that and she'll come up with some names later. I mentioned this in our support group, and one white mom got really angry at me. She started saying that I was a bad mom who was forcing my daughter to pick a name I wanted and forcing her to embrace a culture that rejected her. She brought up my estranged parents, who I had talked about in previous sessions, and how I was trying to force my daughter to be more like them. That was not my intention, but I feel terrible now and can't stop crying. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. This person, OP, has been completely accepting of their daughter, has been literally said that they would do a redo of her naming ceremony. Like, they are trying. She joined a support group too. She is trying her best to be a supportive parent, even though she doesn't 100% understand everything. And I think, and it didn't say anywhere in the story that the daughter was upset with her asking about an Indian name. The fact that a white woman from the support group got upset, like, this has nothing to do with you. To that white woman, this has nothing to do with you. Nothing. And, like, it gives me Karen vibes, because she's just butting her head into, it says, quote-unquote, be civil. Calling anyone in the post a Karen falls under this rule. So it's saying basically in the Reddit story that you can't call the person a Karen, so I'm guessing people called her a Karen, as I am. She sounds like a Karen. She's butting her way into something that has nothing to do with her. That's like, oh. I can't even think of a thing that's as crazy as that. But I'm happy for this trans girl. I am, like, so happy that she gets to live how she wants. And while it is sad that, like, some people weren't as accepting, I think that the fact that her parents were accepting and are trying so hard to, like, be supportive, I think that means a lot. And yeah. And also, this lady shouldn't be crying. She's trying so hard. Like, I can't emphasize enough, like, she's doing her, like, it shows in this post that she's doing her best, and she completely, like, gendered them correctly in the post, and the way that you can tell that she cares about her daughter. It's this Karen white lady has nothing to do with this OP's life. Nothing, except for being in a support group together. And the fact that they're in a support group together, but she decides to attack OP and say how she was trying to force her daughter, and bringing up the estranged parents that OP brought up in a support group to talk about it. It's overstepping to, like, the 1000th degree. Am I the asshole for offending someone who assumed I was trans? I, 25 female, recently started a new job. During the whole application and interview process, I communicated with the same person, the office manager, Susan. We had a couple of messages on email, and she conducted my Zoom interview. I got the job offer a couple weeks ago and have been working from home for the company ever since. At the end of last week, I had an email arrive from someone representing the company's LGBTQ group. This was the national group representing my company. I work for them in a regional capacity, saying that I had a standing invitation to join them in their next Zoom chat, if only to meet other LGBTQ people at the company and have a conversation with them. I am a cis heterosexual woman. I replied saying that while I love to join them as an ally, there had been some kind of miscommunication as I am not LGBTQ. I got a quick response to that, apologizing, saying that my name had been passed on to them as a new transgender employee. The only time I've discussed sexuality has been on the anonymous equal opportunities form that I submitted alongside my initial application, which stated that I was straight and cis. A couple hours after that, I got called to an emergency meeting with Susan. When I entered the call, she practically screamed at me that I'd misled her. I asked how, and she said that she and the entire hiring team had assumed that I was transgender because of the fact that I put my pronouns into my email signature. If anything, I do this because it will make whoever I'm communicating with feel sure in the pronouns that I use and saves them from having to ask, which is something that I believe should be commonplace. That's just me. I reiterated this to Susan and said that I'd never tried to mislead anyone. She said that she'd only seen trans people feel the need to mention their pronouns before, and that when my face appeared on the Zoom interview, it could have realistically been a trans woman. So she continued on with her assumption. She also hinted at the fact that my supposed gender identity had resulted in a big swing in my favor over other candidates, and some of the hiring team now feel like I should be let go, as I wasn't the best applicant on skill alone. I've double-checked since, and while the company can fire me without cause for the next year or so, since a protected category, sex, had been identified as a potential factor, I'd have recourse to challenge them on that if they were to terminate my contract in the very next future. Because while you can't fire someone based on their gender identity, you also can't hire someone solely based on your perception of it either. She ended the call by saying that this wouldn't be going any further right now, but on behalf of the trans employees at the company, she was very offended by my choices. I'm not going to ask about if I should stay in the job, not the right sub, and also I barely have to talk with Susan now, so hopefully drama will just die down. But was I wrong for immediately presenting myself in a way that could lead someone to assume that I was transgender? Edit. Thank you to everyone for responding. I have realized that this is a greater issue than just this instance, and will be following the advice to create a paper trail to document this further before taking my next steps. My camera died, so I'm going to continue talking here. It is insane to me that this Karen just is getting so upset that she put her pronouns in her email. I think it's transphobic of her to assume that someone's trans because they put the pronouns in the bio. Or not even the bio, in the email, whatever. And as this person says, it should be commonplace to, like, put your pronouns in your email or in your bio or whatever so people know how to refer to you. And this notion that, oh, only trans people put their pronouns in bio is transphobic to me. I don't know if I'm just being, like, I don't know if I'm overreacting or just being, like, stupid, but it feels transphobic to me. Anyways, I wanted to read another one, but my camera died, so that's gonna be it for this week. I will see you next time. Goodbye. Oh, and do you like my March shirt? I got... All right, bye.